All right, good morning, everyone, again. So it is the 26th of April, a Tuesday morning. We are looking at the dollar index. We're looking at the euro dollar and the euro pound for today. Traders Club members, if you have any questions, put it into the chat. If not, if you think of any questions later, put it into the platform as well. If you are watching us on YouTube, this is recorded live for Traders Club members. We do release it onto YouTube a little bit later into the day. So if you're not already a club member, check out the links, check out the comments, join us as a club member. You can jump onto this Zoom session live as it happens. Right. So with that said, let's get going. As usual, any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of myself. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. All right, so checking the news here on Forex Factory, checking the news. What do we have for today? Not a lot. At 1 p.m., we do have the Bank of Japan with their core CPI number year on year. Small increase from a 1% expected to go to 1.1%. I don't think this is going to change prices too much in terms of the CPI number, but we have all kinds of ministers, the Bank of Japan's Kuroda, we have Chief FX chief, we have Ministry of Finance ministers coming out talking about the yen pairs, talking about yen at 130 to 135 isn't a disaster. Yesterday they were saying that it's bad for the economy. All that jawboning is pushing the US yen and the yen pairs across the board in all different directions. Right now, digressing a little bit, the US yen is at that 127.78 level. With all this talk, we might see the yen move towards the upside in the short to medium term, right? So with that, back to the focus on the euro dollar, the euro pound in particular. What else do we have that could move the euro dollar? Just checking. Today, not much else. Tonight, we do have the durable goods, core durable goods news release for the US, looking to change from a minus 2.1% to a 1% on the durable goods, core durable goods from a minus 0.6 to a 0.5. So if these numbers do come out that way, then we might see, or we're likely to see, the dollar strength come back into play, right? I'll show the dollar index a little bit shortly. With that, we spoke about the Aussie CPI numbers yesterday already, so I'm still holding my view on the Aussie dollar, looking at that bounce as it was heading lower yesterday. What else? The Bank of Japan with their policy report here on Thursday morning. So not going to talk about that on Thursday morning. US GDP numbers, advanced GDP numbers quarter on quarter, looking like a drop. So we spoke about that. With that, again, still looking for possibly a bit of a retrace in terms of, if the GDP numbers come out at 1%, that's a significant drop from the previous quarter at 6.9%. So we're looking at a downward move, which could result in later into the week, the dollar weakening a little bit. It is at a very high point. I'll tell you why. And then that's pretty much it for the rest of the week, right? Until Friday, we do have the GDP numbers for the Eurozone, Italian, German GDP numbers. We do have the Euro CPI estimates from a 7.4 to expected to go to a 7.5. Core CPI looking to be at a 3.1%. Eurozone GDP staying at that 0.3%. So look at it. The main thing here to focus on for now is that the Eurozone CPI flash estimates, if it does come out at that 7.5%, this is likely to push the ECB into taking on a little bit more of a possibly aggressive or start taking action on their policy adjustments, possibly talk about, giving a timeline, a better timeline into rates increases, right? So this CPI number will be quite important. If it does come out at 7.5, I think we might even see a little bit better than 7.5, maybe a 7.6 or 7.8 in terms of the CPI estimate there. So with that, I think that later into the week, we're possibly going to see the euro dollar possibly gain some strength and bounce towards the upside. So what does all that mean, putting it into the charts? First, looking at the dollar index here. Yesterday, I was saying that the dollar was likely to come down and test that 101 level again. Didn't do that exactly. It just sat there for the next 4 hours and pushed up towards the 101.62 or up to 101.73 level, now retracing back down. So this retrace, right? I'll probably take away all these arrows for a while, just getting a bit messy. But at this point, what we're looking at is possibly that retrace. I think it'll come back down to about 101.17. But then I'm still looking for it to bounce back up again towards the 101.60 level. So current retrace now we're seeing, yesterday after our call and during the trading session, we saw the dollar strengthen, but pretty much across the board, the Aussie dollar, the Kiwi dollar, the euro dollar, pound, everything went to a multi-session low again. And as it gets to a multi-session low, we saw that hit, and then now with that retrace bouncing back up again. So just be very careful with your trades, especially during these periods. We're seeing, I'll show you the euro dollar here, for example, came down towards, right? This tail hit came towards the 1.0690 level before bouncing back up again. And if I just do a bit of a digress, I showed you Aussie dollar, same thing, hit that 0.7159 level, looked like it was going to break, but bounced back up again, right? So very low points now. Everything we're seeing at such a low point is all bouncing back up. So that was a very good, happy trade that we got into there. The part 2 of that trade was to look for it to bounce back up from this point. So if I actually move this a little bit and that across, that's the trade. That's the 2-part trades we were talking about yesterday, with the Aussie dollar trading down short term and looking for that bounce back up. So I hope you actually did jump into those 2 trades, but those were the 2, an example of Aussie dollar dropping very low, Kiwi dollar as well, coming down to a very low point. That sell order didn't get triggered, but now it's bouncing back up. So pretty much across the board, we're seeing dollar strengthen yesterday, but now it's retracing. We're looking at prices at a very low point, but all looking at a bounce at this level. So again, this analysis for today will be both a short-term analysis and then a medium-term analysis, because for the short term, like for the euro dollar here, what I'll be looking for is possibly a bounce back up, right? I'm looking for it to move above that 1 point. If it moves above that 1.0745 level, we could see it come towards 1.0791. So an example here, just to show you what you could be looking for in this case, will be a buying opportunity above 1.0746, more specifically about 1.0752. A 30 pip move towards the upside. You can keep your stop loss quite tight at about 20 pips. Almost 1:1 risk reward ratio, or slightly more than 1:1 risk reward ratio towards the upside, looking for that push upwards, that retracement on the dollar index for the euro dollar to push higher. With that, right, remember that later into the week, we do have euro numbers to be released, euro CPI numbers to be released. I'm still looking to see whether we can see a better bounce from this point. So this is the short-term trade. You can also be looking at this as a possible longer-term trade, If it does bounce back up, we could see this push above at the same, almost the same entry point of 1.0753. So above 1.0750, you could be looking at a 25 pip stop loss, an 80 pip take profit level, a 1:3 risk reward ratio towards the upside, towards that 1.0840 resistance level, right? So I'm looking at that for the euro dollar because of the CPI numbers to be released on Friday afternoon, and also the anticipation that on Thursday night we might see the dollar GDP number being weaker than previous at 1%, the dollar weakness to be applied again, and then nothing much else happening before that. So I'm still looking for the euro dollar, well, or the dollar to push lower, which could push the euro dollar back up towards the upside. Can we sell it down on the euro dollar? I'll zoom out and show you that in terms of the euro dollar, not on the H4, on the daily time frame, if we zoomed out, the last time it came towards this point here, moved across, you can see that it doesn't survive, it doesn't survive very well below this 1.0690 level. So I'm still looking at a similar move as what happened here in 2020. In March 2020, it came down, hit this level, looks like it was going to break lower, didn't, and went for that big upward move again. So looking for a similar example here, tracking lower, fails to break lower, and then looking for that big retrace back up towards the upside. So that's my view on the euro dollar for the short and the medium term trades, with the dollar index looking for that retrace, with some action from the ECB or talk from the ECB due to the CPI numbers to be released. So with all that on euro dollar expected to push back up towards the upside, what can you look out for on the euro pound? Euro pound, yesterday, I'll tell you, yesterday I was super keen to try and buy the euro pound back up towards the upside. I was keeping both views, right? I was looking to say, if it breaks below this 0.84 level, great, retrace back down, look to sell it back down. If it doesn't, then, can I look to buy it back up as it broke above the recent high? Ultimately, in the end, I didn't do either because one, the euro dollar was bouncing, so we saw it pushing up, but it's also the pound dollar that was moving in the same direction, which led to this consolidation, right? This consolidation, no real directions, because both the euro and the pound is moving in that similar direction, so it counters each other. So what I'll be looking for here is to remain flexible. Two trade ideas is to look for it to break below this 0.84 level, look to sell down, so about 0.8391. You could have a 25 pip stop loss and about a 40 pip take profit level, or 1:1.5 risk reward ratio towards the downside. Or alternatively, again, if it fails to break this 0.84 level, then look for that bounce. Look for that bounce from this level. Stop loss very tight at about 20 pips. Take profit, first one could be at about 20 pips, or you could be going for that 40 to 60 pip take profit level for it to test that 0.8468 resistance level again. So two trade ideas here on the euro pound, but it all depends on what happens at this 0.84 support level. If it breaks, I will be looking for the selling opportunity. If it bounces back up, I'll be looking for that buying opportunity. First level at about 20 pips, next level at about 60 pips. Remain flexible on the euro pound. It ultimately depends on what happens with the euro dollar and also the pound dollar, which I'll be telling you more about tomorrow during the currency call. With that, Traders Club members, again, during the whole trading session, as you are trading, as you're looking at charts, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them into the platform. Tonight, we do have our club session, so 8 p.m. GMT plus 8, a live session. Robbie has already left us with some questions, so we'll be addressing some questions, especially on the relationship with the bond and the currency pairs, right? So how to trade bond relationships with currency. With that, I'll see you tonight. Take care, trade safe, trade well. See ya. Bye-bye.